My son stopped me at the hospital door after I'd driven 14 hours straight and said the words that would cost them everything. Dad, what are you doing here? Vanessa said she doesn't want you around. 4 days later, when the hospital called asking how I'd like to pay the $9,200 delivery bill, I smiled for the first time since my grandson was born. Let me back up and explain how we got to this moment. I'm Gene Patterson, 58 years old, retired Air Force and civil engineer. Been living alone in Phoenix since my wife passed 4 years ago. The name's Eugene, but everyone calls me Gene. 3 weeks earlier, my daughter-in-law Vanessa had called me, practically glowing through the phone. Dad, Gene, the baby's due any day now, and we'd love for you to be here when he arrives. You're going to be such an amazing grandfather. I should have known something was off when she started calling me Dad Gene instead of just Gene. After 3 years of marriage to my son Lucas, she'd never been that warm. But the excitement of becoming a grandfather for the first time clouded my judgment. At 58, I'd been dreaming of this moment since Lucas announced the pregnancy 8 months ago. I live in Phoenix. They live in Denver. 14 hours of desert highways and mountain passes. I packed my best clothes, bought gifts for the baby, and even splurged on a week at a nice hotel near the hospital. The drive itself was brutal. My back ached from sitting so long, but every mile brought me closer to meeting my grandson. I'd stopped only for gas and coffee, calling Lucas twice to check if there was any news. Both times Vanessa answered his phone, sweet as pie, telling me to drive safely and that they couldn't wait to see me. When I finally pulled into the hospital parking garage at 2 a.m. on Tuesday morning, exhausted but excited, I felt like I'd conquered the world. The maternity ward receptionist told me Vanessa was in labor, room 318. I practically floated down the hallway, my heart pounding with anticipation. That's when I found Lucas pacing outside the delivery room, looking more stressed than excited. The moment he saw me, his face changed. Not relief, not joy, something closer to panic. Dad, what are you doing here? The question hit me like a slap. What do you mean? Vanessa invited me. She called and said you wanted me here for the birth. Lucas's eyes darted toward the delivery room door, then back to me. He looked like a man caught between two impossible choices. She changed her mind about having family here. She wants it to be just us. But I drove 14 hours, Lucas. I'm here now. I'm not asking to be in the delivery room, just to be nearby when my grandson arrives. I know, Dad, but Vanessa's really adamant about this. You know how emotional she gets, and the doctor said stress could complicate the delivery. Something in his voice told me this wasn't Vanessa's sudden change of heart. This felt planned, orchestrated, but I was too tired and too shocked to fight in a hospital corridor at 2 in the morning. Fine, I said quietly. I'll go to my hotel and wait for your call. Lucas looked relieved, which only confirmed my suspicion that I was being deliberately pushed out. Thanks, Dad. I'll call you as soon as the baby's born. I spent the next 8 hours in my hotel room, checking my phone every 10 minutes. My military training had taught me patience in difficult situations, but this was different. This was my family shutting me out, and it hurt in ways I wasn't prepared for. When Lucas finally called at 10 a.m. Wednesday morning, his voice was exhausted but happy. Dad, he's here. Mason Lucas Patterson, 7 pounds 3 ounces. He's perfect. Congratulations, son. When can I meet him? Another pause. I was starting to hate those pauses. Vanessa's really tired, Dad. The delivery was rough. Maybe give us a day or two to settle in. I felt like I was begging for scraps from my own family. Lucas, I'm his grandfather. I drove 14 hours to be here. I know, and we appreciate that. But Vanessa needs to recover. You understand, right? No, I didn't understand, but I agreed because what choice did I have? I spent 2 more days in that hotel room ordering room service and watching terrible daytime television while my son and his wife bonded with my grandson in a hospital 3 miles away. Friday morning came and went with no call. I finally drove to the hospital myself, determined to at least see my grandson through the nursery window. That's when I discovered they'd already been discharged. I called Lucas immediately. You took the baby home without even telling me? Dad, Vanessa wanted to get home to her own space. She's been really anxious about germs and visitors. I'm not a visitor, Lucas. I'm your father. I'm Mason's grandfather, I know that. Look, maybe next month when things settle down next month. I'd driven 14 hours to see my grandson next month. That's when something inside me shifted. 22 years in the Air Force had taught me that some battles are worth fighting and some people mistake kindness for weakness. I hung up, packed my bags, and drove back to Phoenix. If they wanted to exclude me from Mason's birth, fine. But they were about to learn that actions have consequences, and that this particular grandfather had spent decades learning how to solve problems systematically and thoroughly. Sunday afternoon, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Denver General Hospital. Is this Gene Patterson? Yes, ma'am. We have some paperwork issues regarding the birth of Mason Lucas Patterson. The insurance claim was denied, and we need to discuss payment arrangements for the delivery bill. My heart started pounding, but not with anxiety. With something much more satisfying, the first piece of a puzzle I didn't even know existed was about to fall into place. I'm sorry, but I think there's been some confusion. I'm not responsible for that bill. Our records show you as the financial guarantor for Vanessa Patterson's delivery. And that's when I realized exactly what my dear daughter-in-law had done while I was driving across 2 states to be there for my grandson's birth. Ma'am, according to our records, you signed financial responsibility forms for Mrs. Vanessa Patterson's delivery. I sat down heavily in my kitchen chair, my mind racing. In the Air Force, we had a saying, when something doesn't add up, start checking the math. When exactly was this form signed? Let me check. It shows here that the forms were submitted electronically on November 18th at 11:47 p.m. November 18th, the night I was driving through the middle of nowhere, Utah. Probably around the time I stopped for gas near Salt Lake City. I'd been on the road for 8 hours, exhausted and focused on getting to Denver safely. And how exactly were these forms submitted? Electronically through our patient portal. The signature appears to be yours, Mr. Patterson. The pieces were falling into place with military precision. While I was white-knuckling it through a snowstorm on I-70, desperate to reach Denver before my grandson was born, Vanessa was forging my signature on financial documents. I need to see these forms. Can you email them to me? Certainly. What email address should I use? 20 minutes later, I was staring at documents that made my blood boil. Not only had Vanessa forged my signature, but she'd also somehow obtained my social security number, address, and financial information. The forms clearly stated that as the paternal grandfather, I was requesting to cover all delivery expenses as a gift to the new family. But the most infuriating part was the timing. These forms were submitted while Vanessa was sweet-talking me on the phone about being there for the birth, knowing full well that she planned to stick me with the bill while excluding me from actually seeing my grandson. Now, I spent 22 years in the Air Force and 13 years as a civil engineer. You don't succeed in either field without learning how to analyze problems systematically and document everything meticulously. My military training was about to come in very handy. I walked to my home office and pulled out a legal pad. At the top, I wrote Operation Family Defense, Old Habits Die Hard. Then I started creating a timeline with the precision I'd used for mission planning back in my service days. First, I documented every interaction with Vanessa. Phone calls, text messages, the exact times and content of our conversations. I printed out my cell phone records showing incoming and outgoing calls. I gathered my GPS data from the drive, proving exactly where I was and when. Next, I called the hospital back. This is Gene Patterson. I just reviewed the financial responsibility forms and I need to report fraud.
Fraud, sir?
First, I never signed these documents. Second, these were submitted without my knowledge or consent while I was driving to Denver at my daughter-in-law's invitation. I have evidence. The billing representative's tone changed immediately. Sir, if you're alleging fraud, I need to transfer you to our legal department. Perfect. While I waited on hold, I pulled out my phone and started documenting everything with the same thoroughness I'd used for technical reports in my engineering career. Screenshots of Vanessa's texts inviting me to Denver, call logs showing when she contacted me. Even photos I'd taken during my drive with timestamps proving where I was when the forms were supposedly signed. Mr. Patterson, this is the legal department. I understand you're disputing financial responsibility forms. I'm not disputing them. I'm reporting identity theft and fraud. I have evidence that these documents were forged. For the next hour, I provided the legal department with every detail of Vanessa's deception. I spoke with the precision of someone who'd spent decades briefing superior officers and presenting technical data to engineering teams. They were particularly interested in the fact that Vanessa had invited me to Denver while simultaneously committing fraud in my name. Mr. Patterson, this is indeed a serious matter. We'll be filing a police report and turning this over to our fraud investigation team. In the meantime, all charges to your name are suspended pending investigation. After hanging up, I sat in my kitchen staring at my legal pad covered with notes. Vanessa had played this perfectly. She'd gotten me out of the way during the birth, had her private family moment, and planned to stick me with a $9,200 bill as a final insult. What she didn't know was that I'd spent 22 years in military service where attention to detail could mean the difference between life and death. I knew exactly how fraud investigations worked, and Vanessa had just committed several felonies, but I wasn't done gathering intelligence. In the Air Force, we never went into a mission half prepared. I spent the next 2 hours researching everything I could find about Vanessa Patterson. Social media profiles, public records, anything that might give me insight into who I was really dealing with. What I found made me realize this was bigger than a simple case of a daughter-in-law sticking her father-in-law with a medical bill. My phone buzzed with a text from Lucas. Dad, hope you made it home safely. Vanessa's doing great and Mason is such a good baby. We'll send pictures soon. pictures. After excluding me from his birth and forging financial documents in my name, they thought pictures would smooth things over. I typed back, glad everyone's healthy. Looking forward to meeting him soon. What I didn't mention was that I just spent the afternoon ensuring that Vanessa's fraud would be thoroughly investigated by both the hospital and local law enforcement. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people face the consequences of their own actions. But as I looked at my growing file of evidence, I had a feeling this was just the beginning. Tuesday morning brought another call from Denver General. Mr. Patterson, this is Detective Rodriguez with the Denver Police Department. We've been assigned to investigate the fraud case you reported. We need to ask you some questions, of course. Can you walk me through the timeline of events leading up to the alleged document forgery? For the next 45 minutes, I provided Detective Rodriguez with a detailed account using the systematic approach I'd learned in the Air Force. Vanessa's invitation, the 14-hour drive, being turned away at the hospital, the subsequent exclusion from seeing my grandson, and finally discovering the fraudulent financial responsibility forms. Mr. Patterson, do you have any documentation supporting your version of events? I have text messages, call logs, photos from my drive with GPS timestamps, hotel receipts and gas station receipts proving I was traveling when the forms were allegedly signed by me. We'll need copies of all of that. This is shaping up to be a clear case of identity theft and fraud. The fact that the perpetrator invited you to travel while committing crimes in your name suggests premeditation. Premeditation. Vanessa hadn't just made a desperate decision in the moment. She'd planned this entire scenario. The invitation, the exclusion, the fraud. All of it had been calculated to humiliate me while sticking me with their medical bills. Detective, what happens next? We'll be obtaining warrants for financial records, hospital surveillance footage, and digital evidence from the submission of these fraudulent forms. If our investigation confirms what you've told me, your daughter-in-law will be facing several felony charges. After ending the call, I felt lighter than I had in days. Not because I wanted Vanessa to face criminal charges, but because finally someone was taking this seriously. I wasn't being paranoid or oversensitive. I'd been the victim of a calculated crime. That afternoon, I decided to dig deeper into Vanessa's background. In engineering, when you find one structural problem, you check the whole foundation. I started with basic public record searches, social media, anything I could access legally. What I found made me realize I'd been dealing with someone far more dangerous than I'd imagined. My doorbell rang around 3 p.m. Through the peephole, I could see a woman in her 30s holding a manila envelope. Jean Patterson? Yes. I'm Jennifer Walsh, investigator with Denver General Hospital's Fraud Prevention Department. I have some documents for you to review. She handed me the envelope and waited while I opened it. Inside were printed copies of security footage from the night the fraudulent forms were submitted. The screenshots showed Vanessa at a computer in the hospital's family lounge typing on their patient portal system. Mr. Patterson, these images were captured at 11:52 p.m. on November 18th, approximately 5 minutes after the financial responsibility forms were submitted under your name. There was Vanessa, clear as day, hunched over a laptop in the hospital's waiting area. The timestamp showed I was still 4 hours away from Denver, somewhere in the Utah mountains with no cell service. What happens now? I asked. The evidence is overwhelming. Hospital fraud is a federal offense when it involves identity theft across state lines. Your daughter-in-law is looking at significant jail time and financial penalties, but Jennifer Walsh had more to share. Mr. Patterson, our investigation has uncovered something else. This isn't the first time Vanessa Patterson has been involved in identity theft. She pulled out another document. We found records indicating she's used multiple aliases over the past few years. Her real name appears to be Diana Kane, and she has a criminal record in Oregon for similar crimes. My blood ran cold. Diana Kane. My son had been married to someone whose real name he didn't even know. Detective Rodriguez told us about your case, and we decided to run a broader background check. Diana Kane served 18 months in prison in Oregon for identity theft and fraud before she moved to Colorado and reinvented herself as Vanessa Patterson. I sank into my chair. Does my son know about this? That's not for us to determine. Our investigation is focused on the hospital fraud, but Mr. Patterson, you should know that Diana Kane didn't act alone in her previous crimes. She was part of a larger operation. What kind of operation? Identity theft rings that specifically target families through emotional manipulation. They identify vulnerable family members, usually elderly relatives with assets, and then systematically exploit those relationships for financial gain. Jennifer Walsh continued, the pattern is always the same. They create family emergencies or celebrations that require the victim to travel or be emotionally invested, then use the chaos and emotion to commit fraud while the victim is distracted. I thought about my 14-hour drive, my excitement about becoming a grandfather, my willingness to pay for hotel rooms and buy gifts. I'd been the perfect mark. Mr. Patterson, we need you to understand something. This was never about excluding you from your grandson's birth because of family stress. This was a calculated criminal operation designed to maximize financial damage while minimizing your ability to discover the fraud until it was too late. As Jennifer Walsh drove away, I sat on my front porch watching the Arizona sunset and thinking about how completely I'd been played. A week ago, I'd been a grandfather driving across the country to welcome my first grandson. Now I was a victim of identity theft with my daughter-in-law facing federal charges and my son married to someone whose real identity was a complete lie. But I wasn't done. My military training had taught me that intelligence gathering was an ongoing process, and I had a feeling there was more to discover about Diana Kane and her criminal network. My phone rang. Lucas's name appeared on the screen. "Dad, what the hell did you do?" Lucas's voice was shaking with anger, but underneath I heard something else. Fear. "Hello to you too, Lucas. I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Don't play games with me. The police showed up at our house this morning with a warrant. Vanessa's been arrested for fraud. They said you pressed charges." I settled back in my porch chair, watching a roadrunner dart across my front yard. "I didn't press charges, Lucas. I simply reported identity theft when the hospital called asking how I wanted to pay Vanessa's delivery bill." Silence on the other end. Then, quietly, "What delivery bill? The $9,200 bill for Mason's birth that your wife stuck me with while you two were playing happy family without me." The conversation that followed would change everything. "That's impossible. Our insurance covered everything." Poor Lucas. Still so naive about the woman he'd married. "Your insurance was denied, son. That's why the hospital called me. Apparently, Vanessa made me financially responsible for her delivery while I was driving through Utah to see my grandson who I was then not allowed to meet." Another long silence. I could practically hear the pieces clicking together in his mind. "Dad, there has to be some explanation. Vanessa wouldn't do something like that. Wouldn't she? The same woman who invited me to drive 14 hours for the birth, then had you turn me away at the hospital door? The same woman who's avoided every one of my calls for the past week?" I heard Vanessa's voice in the background, shrill and panicked. Lucas covered the phone, but I could make out fragments of their conversation. Vanessa claiming it was all a mistake, that she'd only put my name down as emergency contact. "Dad," Lucas came back on the line. "Vanessa says this is all a misunderstanding. She put you down as emergency contact, not financial guarantor." "Lucas, I've seen the documents. I was a civil engineer for 13 years. I know the difference between an emergency contact form and a financial responsibility agreement. Your wife committed fraud. But why would she do that? It doesn't make sense." I took a deep breath. "Son, there's something else you need to know." The police investigation uncovered some information about Vanessa's background. "What do you mean, Lucas? Your wife's real name isn't Vanessa Patterson. It's Diana Kane, and she has a criminal record in Oregon for identity theft and fraud." The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. "Lucas, are you still there? Criminal record?" His voice was barely a whisper. "Dad, what are you talking about?" "Vanessa served 18 months in prison in Oregon for identity theft and fraud before she moved to Colorado and met you. She changed her name and created a new identity." I heard Mason crying in the background and my heart clenched. This should have been such a happy time. My first grandson, healthy and perfect. And instead I was discussing felony charges with his father. "What do you want me to do?" Lucas asked finally. "I want you to be honest with me about what really happened. Did Vanessa plan to exclude me from the birth from the beginning?" Another pause. Then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. "Yes." The confirmation hit harder than I'd expected, even though I'd known it was true. "Why?" "She said having you there would be stressful, that she wanted the birth to be just our immediate family." "I'm immediate family, Lucas. I'm your father. I'm Mason's grandfather. I know, I should have stood up to her. I should have told you what she was planning instead of letting you drive all that way. Yes, you should have, but you chose to protect her feelings instead of mine. And now she's facing federal charges because neither of you thought about consequences." 3 weeks later, I was sitting in a federal courthouse in Denver watching Diana Kane plead guilty to identity theft and fraud. The prosecutor had uncovered evidence that this wasn't her first time targeting family members for financial exploitation. Her criminal network had been operating across multiple states, specifically targeting military retirees and their families. During the sentencing hearing, I learned the full scope of what Diana had planned. She hadn't just intended to stick me with the hospital bill. Her ultimate goal was to gradually isolate Lucas from his family while systematically draining our financial resources. The exclusion from Mason's birth was just the first step in a longer-term plan to completely control my son and access to my military pension and engineering savings. The judge sentenced her to 5 years in federal prison with full restitution required. As we left the courthouse, Lucas carrying Mason against his chest, I realized that Diana's plan had backfired completely. She'd tried to destroy our family relationship, but her crimes had actually brought Lucas and me closer together than we'd been in years. "Dad," Lucas said as we walked to the car, "I don't know how to thank you for what? For refusing to let her get away with it. If you just paid that hospital bill and stayed quiet, who knows what else she would have done to our family." I looked at my grandson, sleeping peacefully in his father's arms, completely unaware that his mother had planned to use him as a weapon against his own grandfather. "Lucas, the only thing Diana was right about is that there are others like her out there, but she was wrong about one thing." "What's that?" "She thought I'd be an easy target because I'm older. What she didn't count on was that 22 years in the Air Force and 13 years as an engineer taught me how to fight back with evidence and patience instead of emotion." As we drove home through the Colorado mountains, Mason babbling happily in his car seat, I realized that Diana had given me something she'd never intended to give: the knowledge that I could protect my family from anyone who tried to hurt them. 6 months later, Lucas moved back to Phoenix with Mason. He'd realized that staying in Denver in the house he'd shared with Diana wasn't healthy for either of them. Now I see my grandson 3 times a week, and Lucas and I have rebuilt the relationship that Diana had tried to destroy. Last week, Mason took his first steps in my living room, right toward the chair where I'd sat planning my investigation into his mother's crimes. As I watched him toddle across the floor with that determined look that reminded me so much of Lucas at that age, I thought about how sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your family is refuse to let them be victimized. Deanna Kane had been wrong about a lot of things, but she'd been especially wrong about one thing. Some grandfathers are too smart, too stubborn, and too experienced to be easy victims, and when you threaten their family, they don't get mad, they get systematic. And if another predator ever targets my family, they'll learn the same lesson Diana learned in federal court. Military training never really goes away. It just waits for the right mission. Sometimes the people who underestimate us give us our greatest victories, not because we're vengeful, but because we refuse to let evil disguise itself as family. The strongest weapon against predators isn't anger or force. It's the patience to gather evidence and the wisdom to let justice do what emotion never could.